The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council shimmered with an exorbitant quantity of polished cesium, a mineral so scarce that many species would instigate minor conflicts over a mere sliver of what adorned this singular chamber. But, of course, nothing conveys significance quite like squandering invaluable resources on gleaming floors, does it? My designation is Vex Till, not Ambassador Vex Till or High Commander Vex Till, simply Vex Till, Junior Diplomatic Observer from the planet Oraxis. This is essentially a pretentious title for the individual who records notes and procures refreshments for the actual envoys. After 3 standard cycles in this position, I still struggled to believe I was present in the celebrated harmonious chambers on Central Station. Cease your gawking, Vex Till, you resemble a Terran fish, Senior Diplomat Narvan, my direct supervisor and perennial source of trepidation, hissed. His quartet of eyes narrowed in unison, a feat that consistently unsettled me. Affirmative, Senior Diplomat, I responded, lowering my trio of eye stalks in deference. I was merely observing the strategic arrangement of the delegations. Narvan grunted, unconvinced for even an Ancond. Just recall our purpose here, observe, document, report. Refrain from engaging with anyone unless directly addressed. I suppressed what humans term a sigh. My species doesn't actually sigh, we release surplus emotional energy through our epidermis in vibrant bursts. Presently, I was desperately restraining a particularly vivid shade of perturbed orange. Around us, the council chamber throbbed with activity as representatives from over 30 galactic powers assumed their designated positions. The Morarians, with their crystalline exoskeletons, clinked and glittered as they moved. The gaseous vaporants floated within their containment spheres, altering hues to express their diplomatic dispositions. The insectoid triacs clicked and rubbed their foils together in what I understood to be anxious anticipation. And then there were the humans. They had only possessed a council seat for 11 standard cycles, practically newborns in galactic politics. Their delegation stood near the chamber's perimeter, conversing amongst themselves with animated gestures. For such seemingly fragile beings, they invariably appeared so full of life, so self-assured. Behold, Narvan whispered, more to himself than to me. This summit could alter everything. The power equilibrium of 17 sectors hangs in the balance. He wasn't exaggerating. The Expansion Rights Summit was the most paramount diplomatic occurrence in the past 50 cycles. 17 unclaimed sectors had recently become accessible following the collapse of the transdimensional barrier in the Outer Rim, unexplored planets, untapped resources, strategic locations. Everyone desired their share. Pay particular attention to the Javerans, Narvan instructed, nodding toward the delegation of scaled, muscular beings with prominent cranial ridges. Supreme Counselor Krazax has been making rumblings about manifest destiny and natural expansion rights, the quintessential prelude to aggressive territorial claims. I nodded, making a mental note. The Javorian Empire had been expanding rapidly over the past century. Their militaristic culture and resource-devouring economy rendered them formidable players. And observe the humans as well, Narvan added, an unusual tension in his voice, they're unpredictable. Before I could inquire what he meant, the chamber's ambient lighting dimmed, and the central holographic platform illuminated. Grand Minister Tsar Gulf, the venerable Korean who had moderated council proceedings for over 200 cycles, floated to the center. Distinguished representatives of the Galactic Council, the Grand Minister's voice resonated through the chamber, its projection magnified by both technology and natural chlorin vocal harmonics. We convene today to address matters of immense significance. The Expansion Rights Summit is now in session. I activated my recording device and prepared for what would assuredly be hours of tedious procedural speeches. Little did I know that I was about to witness the commencement of an event that would reshape galactic politics forever and grant me a front row seat to the most crucial lesson our galaxy would ever learn: never, ever threaten a human. The human problem. Before we discuss sector allocation, we must address concerns raised by multiple delegations regarding humanity's recent expansion activities. Grand Minister Zargulth's tendrils waved gracefully as he addressed the council. A wave of murmurs swept through the chamber. I glanced at the human delegation, noting how they remained perfectly composed. The lead human, a brown-skinned female with short curly hair, whispered something to her companion, a tall male with skin the color of Orisian sand. They actually smiled. Who smiles when they're about to be politically ambushed?
The chair recognizes Supreme Councillor Krazax of the Javorian Empire, the Grand Minister announced.
And here we go, the political equivalent of a supernova about to erupt. Krazax rose to his impressive full height of nearly 3 meters. His scales gleamed metallic green beneath the chamber lights, his ceremonial armor adorned with the skulls of extinct predators from conquered worlds. Subtle, right? Esteemed colleagues, Krazax began, his voice a rumbling bass that vibrated the very air. For 30,000 cycles, our civilizations have maintained order through careful, measured expansion. We have respected boundaries, adhered to treaties, and ensured stability. He paused dramatically. I swear the Javarans must take theatrical classes before diplomatic assignments. Then came the humans. Krazax practically spat the word, his cranial ridges flushing blood red with barely contained aggression. In just 11 cycles, they have established colonies in 7 systems beyond their original treaty allocation.
7. I couldn't help myself, my eye stalk swiveled toward the human delegation.
Still calm, still composed.
What were they playing at?
Their technology advances at an alarming rate, Krazax continued. Their population growth exceeds all projected models.
Their resource consumption patterns are disturbing.
Several council members nodded in agreement.
The Dravari representative, a being composed of fungal structures, pulsed with concerned purple light.
The Kthar, anti-diplomats, tentacles twisted into what I recognized as an anxiety spiral.
May I remind the council that these creatures were slinging primitive projectiles at each other merely 200 cycles ago?
Now they possess quantum fold technology, gravitational manipulation systems, and, according to our intelligence, are experimenting with dimensional phasing. That caused a genuine uproar.
Dimensional phasing?
Even my species considered that theoretical at best, dangerous at worst. The Grand Minister chimed a resonance tone for order.
The chair recognizes Ambassador Elena Reyes of Earth. The brown-skinned human female stood gracefully.
Through my visual enhancers, I could see the subtle augmentations around her eyes, cybernetic implants tastefully concealed.
Thank you, Grand Minister. Her voice carried effortlessly, requiring no amplification.
The Terran Alliance acknowledges the concerns of our esteemed colleague from the Javorian Empire. However, I must point out that each of our expansions has occurred in unclaimed systems, following all notification protocols established by Council Regulation 7293B. She smiled, that peculiarly human expression that could signify anything from friendship to imminent violence. As for our technological progress, we are merely eager students of the galactic community.
Krazax snorted, a sound like ancient grinding machinery. Students who have surpassed many of their teachers in a mere decade? The sand-colored human male beside Ambassador Reyes stood now.
His uniform displayed minimal decorations, just a simple insignia of Earth's combined military forces. Commander Blake Thompson, Terran Defense Force, he introduced himself. His voice had a different quality than the ambassador's, harder, like dense metal.
I would remind Councillor Krazax that humanity's rapid advancement is born of necessity. When we joined this council, we were centuries behind most species. We're simply catching up. Catching up? Krazax thundered.
Your latest void ships can outmaneuver our fastest cruisers. Your communication technology breaches barriers we've studied for millennia. This isn't catching up, this is a deliberate military buildup.
I noticed something odd then.
While Krazax raged, Commander Thompson's eyes weren't on the Javaran at all. They were focused on someone in the gallery, a red-haired human female making subtle hand gestures.
Information exchange right under everyone's snouts.
The Javorian Empire formally requests immediate restrictions on human expansion, technology development, and military capacity, Krazax declared, for the safety of all council species. And that's when Ambassador Reyes laughed, actually laughed, in the middle of the Galactic Council. With respect, Counselor, she said, her voice carrying a dangerous edge beneath its politeness, humanity does not respond well to threats. Perhaps we should discuss your empire's recent activities near the Pleiades corridor instead. The chamber fell silent. Everyone knew the Javarans had been suspected of illegal mining operations in protected space, but no one had dared mention it publicly. I couldn't help myself, a small burst of impressed yellow escaped my skin before I could suppress it. Narvan shot me a warning glare with all four eyes. This wasn't just diplomatic fencing anymore, this was a declaration of intent. And somehow, I knew things were about to get much, much worse. The threat desk. The chamber erupted into chaos after Ambassador Reyes' pointed comment about the Pleiades corridor. Krazax's scales darkened to a dangerous midnight green, a warning sign any xenobiologist would recognize as imminent aggression. Order! I will have order! Grand Minister Tsar Goltha's voice reverberated through the chamber, temporarily silencing the uproar. Krazax remained standing, his massive form trembling with barely contained rage. His aide, a slender Javerin with unusually pale scales, whispered urgently in his ear. Whatever the aide said only seemed to intensify Krazax's fury. The humans speak of rules and regulations while they themselves make a mockery of our ancient order, Krazax hissed. They are children playing with quantum fire. He slammed a clawed fist onto his console, cracking the virtually indestructible material. Several delegates gasped. Violence, even symbolic, was unprecedented in the council chambers. Hear me, representatives of Earth, he continued, pointing a talon directly at Ambassador Reyes and Commander Thompson. The Javorian Empire will not stand idle while you upset the balance of power that has maintained peace for 30 millennia. You will halt your expansion. You will cease your technological experimentation. You will submit to council oversight of your military capabilities. I recorded furiously, my digits flying across my datapad. This wasn't merely a diplomatic incident anymore, this was, technically speaking, an ultimatum. And if we decline these generous offers? Commander Thompson asked, his voice eerily calm. He stood with his hands clasped behind his back, feet slightly apart, a military posture that somehow communicated both relaxation and readiness. Krazax's mouth stretched into what his species considered a smile, a terrifying display of serrated teeth. Then, Commander, the Javorian Empire will be forced to take preventative measures for the good of all civilized species. Holy stars, did he just threaten military action in the council chamber? I glanced at Narvan, whose skin had gone completely pale with shock. The most astonishing reaction, though, came from the humans. They didn't shout, they didn't protest. Ambassador Reyes simply nodded once, as if Krazax had commented on the station's artificial weather. The Terran Alliance acknowledges your position, Counselor, she said smoothly, and we request a 48-hour recess to formulate our official response. Grand Minister Tsar Golth, clearly relieved at the chance to defuse the situation, quickly granted the request and adjourned the session. As delegates flooded from the chamber, I noticed Krazax and his pale aide exiting through a private doorway. They looked pleased. That couldn't be good. Vex Till. Narvan's sharp voice yanked me from my observations. Conference room, now. 5 minutes later, I stood before the full Orisian diplomatic team, my skin cycling through nervous color patterns. You've been reassigned, Senior Diplomat Narvan announced without preamble. Reassigned? But the humans requested a junior diplomatic observer to assist with cultural context during their deliberations, Narvan continued, cutting off my protest. Given our neutral standing with both Earth and the Javorian Empire, the Grand Minister approved the request. My third eye stalk twitched in confusion. The humans asked for me specifically? For an Orisian observer, Narvan clarified. You were available. The slight emphasis made it clear I was considered expendable. Ambassador Tolo, head of our delegation, fixed all 6 of her eye stalks on me. This is an unexpected opportunity, junior observer. The humans rarely allow outsiders into their private deliberations. Your assignment is simple, Narvan said. Observe, record, report everything back to us. Do not offer opinions. Do not get involved. Is that clear? I nodded, a strange feeling of foreboding washing over me. Why would the humans want an observer? What game were they playing? As I gathered my equipment, I caught a glimpse of the human delegation through a viewport. They were walking toward their ship, talking animatedly. Commander Thompson was actually laughing, while Ambassador Reyes smiled broadly. They had just received a thinly veiled declaration of war,
and they were laughing? What in the 7 moons of Oraxis had I gotten myself into? Investigation.
The human vessel, _diplomatic endeavor _ resembled what I imagine a predator species would design if asked to create something peaceful. Promising sleek lines, minimal weapons visible, but the way the hull plating overlapped suggested defensive capabilities well beyond standard diplomatic requirements.
Welcome aboard, Junior Observer Vex Till, Ambassador Reyes greeted me at the airlock. We appreciate your government's cooperation.
I performed the traditional Orisian greeting gesture, dipping my primary eye stalk while keeping the other 2 raised. I am honored to assist with cultural context, Ambassador, she smiled, that curious human expression again, and led me through corridors that hummed with barely contained energy. The ship felt alive somehow.
Our meeting room is just ahead. Commander Thompson and Strategic Advisor Ling are waiting. I followed, recording everything as instructed.
The humans had decorated their ship with actual plant life. Wasteful, but strangely appealing. Through transparent panels, I glimpsed crew members operating equipment far more advanced than their public technology declarations suggested.
Interesting.
The meeting room contained the expected Commander Thompson plus an older human female with striking white hair cropped close to her scalp. Strategic Advisor M. Ling, the woman introduced herself, not bothering with the customary handshake humans usually insisted upon. Her eyes assessed me with the calculating precision of a targeting system. Now that formalities are concluded, Commander Thompson said, let's get to work.
We have 36 hours to prepare our response to the Javorian ultimatum.
What followed was perplexing.
For 3 hours, they discussed agricultural development, water reclamation projects, and educational initiatives. Not once did they mention military preparations or defensive strategies. When the meeting concluded, Ambassador Reyes turned to me. Junior Observer, we'll reconvene tomorrow.
In the meantime, feel free to use our guest quarters.
As I settled into my assigned room, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd witnessed an elaborate performance. Why invite an observer to such mundane discussions? Unable to sleep, I decided to explore.
The ship's layout matched the schematics filed with the Council, except for a curious energy fluctuation my sensory appendages detected near the cargo bay. Just a quick look, I told myself, for my report.
The cargo bay doors were unlocked, suspiciously so.
Inside, crates labeled agricultural equipment stood in neat rows, but my scanner detected energy signatures inconsistent with farming tools.
Curious little Orisian, a voice hissed from the shadows.
I whirled around to find Krazax's pale-aide and 2 armored Javorian soldiers blocking my exit.
What are you doing on a human vessel?
I demanded, trying to sound braver than I felt.
The pale-aide's tongue flicked out, tasting the air. The same as you, I imagine, gathering intelligence. Though I have official clearance.
He gestured, and 1 soldier moved forward, attaching a small device to a nearby crate.
A scanning device? No, an explosive. The Javarans and humans have a special understanding. The aide continued.
Supreme Counselor Krazax merely accelerates the inevitable.
My third eye caught movement at the cargo bay entrance. More Javorian infiltrators arriving. Sensor package planted, the soldier reported. Fleet will have targeting data within 6 hours. Fleet targeting data? Return to the ship, the pale-aide ordered. Inform the Supreme Counselor that Phase 1 is complete.
The humans suspect nothing. As they turned to leave, a datapad fell from the aide's pouch.
None of them noticed.
I remained frozen until they departed, then rushed to examine it. The screen displayed a tactical overlay of Earth's solar system, with fleet positions, attack vectors, and a countdown timer showing just under 28 hours.
This wasn't diplomacy, this was premeditated annihilation.
My training said to report back to Narvan immediately. Council protocols demanded neutrality in conflicts between member species, but I had just witnessed the planning of a sneak attack, a violation of the most fundamental Council law. My skin flashed with decision purple before I could suppress it. I grabbed the datapad and ran toward the bridge, all 3 hearts pounding in my chest. Narvan would have my career for this, possibly my freedom, but some things transcended diplomatic protocols.
Human response. You knew. I gasped, my color rapidly cycling between shock blue and betrayal violet.
Commander Thompson, Ambassador Reyes, and Advisor Ling stood around the holographic display where I'd frantically shown them the stolen Javorian datapad. Their reaction, or rather lack thereof, confirmed my suspicion instantly.
We suspected, Ambassador Reyes corrected gently, but we lacked concrete proof until you provided it.
Advisor Ling added, examining the datapad with clinical precision, for which humanity thanks you, Junior Observer Vex Till. Commander Thompson crossed his arms, studying me with those unnerving human eyes.
The question now is, what do you intend to do with this information? My three eyes darted between them. I've already done it. I violated my diplomatic mandate by bringing this to you instead of my superiors.
The humans exchanged glances, that mysterious nonverbal communication they were so adept at.
Junior Observer, Ambassador Reyes said carefully, you have a choice to make. You can return to your delegation and report everything, including your own breach of protocol, or...
My skin flashed anxious yellow despite my best efforts to maintain composure. Or you can stay and witness how humanity responds to threats, Commander Thompson finished.
No species has ever seen our actual capabilities. It could be educational.
Before I could respond, the ship's communication system chimed. The view screen activated to reveal a stern-faced human male with dark skin and silver hair at his temples.
Admiral Jackson.
Commander Thompson nodded.
Status report.
Operation Boogeyman is green across all platforms, the Admiral replied.
Our fleet is in position, quantum buoys deployed, just awaiting final authorization.
You have it, Ambassador Reyes stated firmly.
Activate Defense Protocol Sierra 9. Acknowledged.
The Admiral's eyes shifted to me.
Is that an Orisian? Junior Observer Vex Till, Thompson confirmed. He's provided confirmation of Javorian intentions. Admiral Jackson nodded once. Then we owe him a debt. Jackson out.
And the screen blinked, leaving me more confused than ever.
What's happening? What's Operation Boogeyman? And how can your home fleet be in position?
We're 16 light-years from Earth. Advisor Ling actually chuckled, a sound like small stones falling down a metal chute. Oh, my scaled friend, so many questions. She gestured, and the room's lights dimmed.
The central holographic display expanded, showing Earth's solar system, then zooming out to reveal. No, that couldn't be right. I couldn't help exclaiming.
This is our actual defense grid, Commander Thompson explained. The display showed thousands of small objects scattered throughout human space and beyond, some clustered around planets, others positioned at seemingly random points between stars. Quantum communication buoys, Ambassador Reyes said, noting my confusion. They allow instantaneous communication regardless of distance.
That's impossible. I stammered. The energy requirements alone would be prohibitive. Using conventional physics, Thompson interrupted. But we don't use conventional physics.
The display shifted again, showing what appeared to be ships, tiny compared to standard council vessels, emerging from concealed positions throughout the sector. What you're seeing is approximately 30% of the Terran Defense Force, Ling stated flatly.
The part we keep off the official registries. My skin went completely white with shock.
This violates at least 17 Council regulations regarding military disclosure.
Does it? Ambassador Reyes asked innocently. We declared our active military vessels accurately.
These are classified as automated defense platforms, perfectly legal under Regulation 42B, Paragraph 7. The room's door hissed open, and a red-haired human female entered, the same one I'd seen exchanging signals with Commander Thompson during the council session. Captain Maya Chen, Special Intelligence, she introduced herself briskly.
The Javorian fleet has begun movement.
27 capital ships, 85 support vessels, bearing directly for the Sol system.
Right on schedule, Thompson nodded. Initiate Phase 2.
Captain Chen activated her wrist communicator.
Control, this is Chen. Execute Lightning Protocol. The holographic display updated, showing human vessels moving into formation.
But they were so small, so few compared to the Javorian armada.
You can't possibly hope to defeat them, I blurted out.
The Javorian Empire has conquered 12 systems. Their military technology is centuries ahead of what your species has publicly demonstrated. All 4 humans turned to me with identical expressions, what I would later learn humans call the cat that ate the canary look. Junior Observer Vex Till, Ambassador Reyes said with that dangerous smile, "There's something you should understand about humans, we lie." Commander Thompson stated bluntly.
Strategically, Advisor Ling amended. About everything, Captain Chan added with a predatory grin. Ambassador Reyes gestured to the display.
What you're seeing isn't a desperate defense, it's a carefully laid trap.
The hologram zoomed in on one of the tiny human ships.
At first glance, it appeared to be a standard patrol vessel.
Then, panels slid back along its hull, revealing weapon systems unlike anything I'd ever seen.
Dimensional phase cannons, Thompson explained casually, as if discussing breakfast options.
They bypass conventional shields by shifting partially out of normal spacetime before impact. Impossible, I whispered. That technology is theoretical at best.
Was theoretical, Ling corrected, until about 70 Earth years ago.
The display shifted again, showing another class of vessel deploying what looked like small satellites. Quantum entanglement mines, Chen said. Once deployed, they can be detonated simultaneously across vast distances. No warning, no defense.
My skin cycled through colors so rapidly I feared I might faint. But at the Council, you've always presented yourselves as a developing power, barely keeping pace with established species.
Yes, Ambassador Reyes nodded. We did. Why? I demanded.
Commander Thompson's expression hardened.
Because the last time humans revealed their full technological capabilities to potential enemies. He paused. Well, those enemies aren't around anymore to discuss it.
A cold chill ran through my nervous system.
The implications were staggering.
The Javerins will be in firing range of Earth in 22 hours, Captain Chan reported.
Perfect, Ambassador Reyes replied.
That gives us plenty of time to prepare our official response to the Council. She turned to me, eyes gleaming with something ancient and dangerous.
So, Junior Observer Vex Till, are you staying to watch the show? The battle. Of course, I stayed. Wouldn't you, when offered a front row seat to what would undoubtedly be either humanity's last stand or the greatest military upset in galactic history?
Diplomatic protocols suddenly seemed flexible. We had relocated to the _Vigilant Observer _, Earth's supposedly ceremonial flagship, about as ceremonial as a supernova. Javorian fleet has entered the Oort cloud perimeter, announced a calm human female at the tactical station. 27 capital ships confirmed. Weapon signatures indicate maximum charge.
Admiral Jackson nodded from the command chair, utterly unfazed. Status of the Sol defense grid? Dormant, as ordered, sir. To all appearances, we were completely unprepared. I couldn't help myself. You're deliberately appearing vulnerable. That's your strategy?
Captain Chan smirked from her station.
The best trap is the one where the prey thinks it's the predator.
The massive viewscreen showed the approaching Javorian armada, a terrifying array of battlecruisers, destroyers, and support vessels arranged in a classic pincer formation. Their hull designs featured the aggressive angles and protruding weapon arrays typical of a species that valued intimidation as part of their tactical approach.
They're broadcasting on all frequencies, reported the communications officer. Text and audio. Let's hear it, ordered Admiral Jackson.
Supreme Counselor Krazax's voice filled the bridge, smug, triumphant, and dripping with contempt.
Attention, humans of Earth.
You have been judged a threat to galactic stability.
Your rapid technological advancement and unauthorized expansion ends today. Surrender your planetary defense codes and prepare for occupation, or face immediate eradication. You have 5 minutes to comply. Admiral Jackson actually yawned. Standard Javorian ultimatum. They haven't updated their intimidation protocols in centuries. Ambassador Reyes, standing beside the Admiral's chair, nodded to the communications officer.
Send our prepared response. The officer's fingers danced across her console.
Message sent. I couldn't contain my curiosity. What did you say?
Captain Chen's grin widened. We sent them a single Earth word, which was nope. Before I could process the implications of responding to an extinction-level threat with slang, the tactical officer called out, Javorian fleet accelerating.
Weapons hot. They're launching first-wave strike craft.
The view screen showed smaller vessels pouring from the capital ships like angry insects from a disturbed hive, hundreds of them, each capable of leveling. Then, something strange occurred on the view screen. Small distortions appeared throughout the solar system, like ripples in water. Where there had been empty space, suddenly.
By the seven suns. I couldn't help exclaiming. Ships. Human ships. Thousands of them appearing from nowhere as if conjured by magic.
Quantum phase shifting, Captain Chen explained casually.
They were there all along, just slightly offset from normal spacetime. The Javorian fleet wavered, its orderly formation disrupted as commanders responded to the sudden arrival of a hostile armada that overshadowed their own. Defense grid online, the tactical officer announced, targeting solutions acquired. Execute Phase 2.
Admiral Jackson commanded the view screen to divide, displaying multiple perspectives as thousands of previously concealed orbital platforms around Earth, Mars, and the outer planets revealed themselves and began a simultaneous barrage. Not with conventional energy weapons or projectiles, but something altogether different, streams of fluctuating, almost fluid light that appeared to distort reality.
Dimensional phase cannons, Captain Chen observed, noting my bewilderment. They don't inflict direct damage to the ship. They displace small portions of it into another dimension. I watched with horrified fascination as Javorian vessels began to disintegrate, not exploding, but rather disassembling as segments of their structure simply vanished from our reality.
They're attempting to return fire, the tactical officer reported.
Standard antimatter warheads. Admiral Jackson nodded. Let them waste their ammunition. Activate defensive screens.
The incoming Javorian weapons detonated against unseen barriers, their destructive energy harmlessly dissipated.
Multi-phase shields, Captain Chen clarified.
The energy is redirected into pocket dimensions. Amidst the chaos, one massive Javorian dreadnought breached the defensive screen, heading directly for Earth.
Its primary weapon, a planet-killer-class singularity cannon, began to glow with accumulating energy. Flagship identified, the tactical officer reported. It's the Imperial Wrath, Krazax's personal vessel. Deploy the Kraken, Admiral Jackson ordered quietly.
From Earth's moon, a solitary, small object was launched. It appeared almost insignificant, a cylinder no larger than a standard escape pod.
What is that? I asked, unable to tear my eye stalks from the screen. Ambassador Reyes said with something akin to reverence, it's why we don't reveal our true capabilities.
The cylinder approached the Javorian flagship without evasive maneuvers, seemingly suicidal in its direct course. The Imperial Wrath fired secondary weapons, but the cylinder absorbed the impacts without slowing.
It attached itself to the dreadnought's hull like a parasite. For a moment,